Hello YouTube. Today I was walking around and I found this piece of wood, and this piece of wood reminds me that a long time ago, before I became lazy and I starting fires only with a ferrocerium rod, I could very easily light a fire by friction. And I wanted to show how I make a friction fire set. We must make our half board, and for that everyone knows that we have to use some soft wood. My friends are divided. They use willow, they use hazel, they use others soft wood trees, but my favorite is this tree, and for those of you that didn't recognize it, this is elderberry. So without talking too much, let's get cracking. First we must choose a piece without nuts. We have a nut here, so using our folding saw we will get rid of it. Let's do that. Right, as you could see, with my saw I cut easy enough this piece that is fairly thick. Now we have to split it in two. Normally I would split it like this, but probably you can see there are cracks in it, also here. So because this crack goes all along, I will go with that crack, and then we'll see what we can do. I will use this knife. This is not a splitting knife. This is not a knife of batoning, but this is my new favorite knife. And let's get cracking. Let's see what we can do. As I said, the knife is not made for that, but this activity has demonstrational purposes. And now that we have two pieces, we must cut another piece of board, because we can use it, but this is very unstable and we have to pin it in place and so on. So better to split it once more to obtain something that is flat and on we can work without problem. Let's do it. This is not extremely good splitting, but we can make it work. I do not have an axe with me, and I will not bother to level it by hand with only my knife. But you got the point. We have to make a flat surface on the bottom too. because we want to have something that is steady, that will not dance around when we will work with it. This is a very good way to obtain a half board, because as you can see, after we will get rid of the bark, we'll have this part right here, and in the moment that we will cut our V-shape notch, all the this is better to see, all the dust will have a place to accumulate without us to dig inside the board. And that being done, we have our hearth board. Another piece of kit that we must do is the spindle. The spindle must be a piece of wood that is as straight as possible, and also without cracks, without pieces missing, and so on. So I have here something I broke when I was coming, but I think we can use it, even if this part is cracked and this is not very good to use. We will use again our saw. The length is like this. This is the ideal length, I don't know, maybe. The girth of the wood must be like a thumb, and this will be after we will cut down the bark, but now I will not do that. Now I will put a very shallow tip on the portion, on this portion of the stick, and we will use that to drill into our half board to obtain the dust and also our spark eventually. This part must be blunt, rounded, in the way that will permit the spindle to cut inside the half board and to by friction to obtain our dust and also our pieces of fire needed to ignite. So something like that. This is not very good, but you got the point. And on the other side, we have to make a very pointy end, and this one must be long as well. I will explain why. As I said, this part must be very pointy, because in this part of the stick we don't want any friction, and because no friction is impossible, we want as little friction as possible, so we must put a very pointy end, and in the same time this pointy end must be as long as possible, because while we use the spindle, this part will will be eaten up, will be chewed up, and we will be remaining with some thick part that is not exactly what we wanted. In the same time, we don't want to have something that is brittle, something that will break on us. So for the moment, something like that is enough. And now that we have our spindle, we have to find another piece of wood to use with it. And another piece of wood can be this board, this half board, in which we can put a little hole, and inside of it our spindle will spin, hopefully with as little friction as possible, to help us that this part dig in the half board and produce our dust and our spark. Now we have our half board, our spindle, we have our support, and we need two other items. We need our bow, and our bow can be a piece of stick like this that is dry, or we can use a piece of green wood after we will bend it a little after our needs. And the last piece of our kit will be our string, and our string can be our shoelaces, can be our paracord, can be our bank line, can be some strips of leather bind together. I will not recommend strings from natural materials like jute twine and so on, because they will be burned and they will break in the moment that we use our spindle. And in this moment, roughly, this is what we need to make a kit for friction fire. As I said, I have a long time since I used one of these kits, so if I forgot something or if I remember wrong anything, you can tell me, and I am very open. I wanted to remember, and next time I will try to ignite a fire using this. In this moment I do not have the time, I do not have a string, an appropriate string, and also I don't think that this will be a success, because the wood is not very dry, and for this kind of fire making we need some very dry pieces of wood. This is all for today. A very good weekend to you all.